Welcome to Superstitions and Traditions, our podcast to shed light on the everyday things we do and love and the historical shenanigans we question. I'm Kristen.
I'm Clarissa.
She's Clarissa. And today we're going to talk about daguerreotype photography. So, at the end of the episode, leave us a comment on YouTube or Spotify and let us know your rating. And we will let you guys know ours, and be sure to subscribe so you can come back and see all of the shenanigans. So daguerreotype. It was a type of photography, one of the first that was like a realistic way. It wasn't the first photograph, but it was one of the first to be moderately accessible. They were strange. I've seen them in museums, and it's like a piece of metal with a picture on it.
That's awesome.
It really is. It was developed by Louise Jacques Monde Daguerre, who was born in 1787 near Paris, and he had several different jobs. He trained as an architect, but didn't want to be an architect. He liked to draw. He wanted to be an artist. So it was like a architect and artist was a respectable field his parents chose for him and paid for his schooling. And then he was like, this is not what I want to do. So he ended up for a little while working as a scene painter for the opera in Paris, which was like a big deal.
That'd be something.
Yeah.
Oh.
He did art installations called dioramas, which we think of like the little box, that we all did in school.
Right.
This was more like, they're popular now, like immersive arts.
Okay.
But it was paintings on cloth and then layered on top of each other in like a tunnel with light shone through it and different lighting techniques to move it around.
I love that.
Yeah. It sounded really cool. Like you walk into this giant room and stand in the middle, and it's all around you, and they're changing the lighting, so it's like subtle changes in the picture.
That's awesome.
Yeah, like a life-size diorama.
Yeah.
He didn't invent that. It was made popular in like the late 1700s, and this is the early 1800s. So he heard about it, was good at art and painting, and the daguerreotype photographs, though, they were expensive. So only wealthy people could have them. They were very fragile. Fingerprints would mess it up.
Oh, wow.
They would be scratched or dinged easily. They were heavy, and like it could break. So, but it was a coating. It was a silver-plated copper plate that was coated with iodine fumes, vapors. And then it was placed in a camera obscura, which was developed long, long ago. But I know Leonardo da Vinci wrote about camera obscuras. But it, like the pinhole, when you would poke a pin through a piece of paper and look through it, that's kind of the same idea. So it wasn't necessarily a camera to take pictures. It was a way of viewing things, kind of like a projector.
That's cool.
Yeah. So it was placed in there, and then the picture was taken, and it was kind of etched in this iodine, and then it was placed in a dark cabinet and exposed to mercury fumes, and it took about 30-45 minutes for the picture to develop, and then it was coated with salt water to kind of seal it. The problem with them was the lighting had to be perfect, and Like, it was real hard to see. Lighting had to be perfect to see it. They were fragile, and you couldn't really expose them to too much air, so they had to be kept in like cases or in lockets or things like that, because air could damage them.
Definitely something you put up.
Yes, definitely something you put up. And also the chemicals involved were dangerous for, when they came in contact with your skin or when they were inhaled. So it wasn't the best method, but it was one of the first. It was used from like 1840s to 1850s before it was developed again to something more realistic.
Okay.
He announced, so he started working on it in the 1830s. There was another inventor named Nepis who had invented a method of photography also. His was called heliography, and it had an exposure time of like 8-9 hours. So it was, and it wasn't real crisp or easily seen. It was fuzzy and granulated.
Okay.
And he developed that in 1822. So through the art industry he was in, he was put in contact with this man and kind of wrote letters back and forth, and they developed this process of the daguerreotype together.
That just blows my mind.
By letter. So this is also during the French Revolution, so they had to, like, mail was monitored and things like that.
Right.
They met a couple of times in person. The method ended up being accidental. So they had been testing things and writing back and forth about, well, I tried this and it didn't work, or I tried this and there's little progress, and so they would kind of work off each other's work. He had put one of his things in a cabinet, and inside the cabinet was a mercury thermometer, and that was broken, and he didn't know. But so it's closed up in this cabinet, and the fumes and it helps develop the picture faster. So it was completely by accident that he discovered this method.
Wow.
During the French Revolution, and I'm not sure on all the specifics, but he didn't want to get a patent through the country of France because people were stealing and, using information off of them.
That's fair.
But he did get one in other countries. He sold the Nepisi guy passed away, and Daguerre sold his daguerreotype to the French government instead of seeking a patent. The French government made it available to everybody to copy, but they paid him royalties every year. He made sure to split the royalties with Nepisi's family.
That's sweet.
Yeah, so he got like a tiny bit more than Nepisi's family, but he made sure to include them for the work that their dad had contributed.
I love that.
I know it. So, and then in the 1850s, somebody took his work and made improvements to it, and then it's just progressed from there. And now we just take pictures on our phone and don't ever have one to hold. Or at least I don't. It's rare that I actually print the pictures off I take.
Honestly, yeah, fair.
I mean, my kids are going to be like, there were never pictures.
Just on that one phone.
Just on that one phone. And when that phone died, Mom got a new phone. Then all of my childhood was gone.
Mine's all on Snapchat. They'll just have to log into my stuff.
Hey, that's a good idea. All right. But that is the information about daguerreotypes. So what do you think?
Oh man, I think that is so neat. You don't realize like all this stuff that gets put into it.
All the steps, and his parents were real disappointed when he chose not to pursue architecture and to go back to art. But his dad did help him gain an apprenticeship.
That's good at least.
Yeah. He wanted to move. He lived in like a little township in France outside of Paris, and he wanted to move into Paris to study. And his parents were like, no, that's a bad idea. You know, it's like all the debauchery and evilness and vileness in Paris. You can't live in a big city like that. But they still helped him. His dad got him an apprenticeship with a well-known painter and helped him pursue his art career, even though they disagreed with it, which I thought was nice too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Had that not happened, had they not helped him seek his career in art, then none of this could have happened. So
yeah,
just supportive parents who, even though they questioned their children's decisions, still supported. That's awesome to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the invention was announced at the French Academy of Sciences in Paris in 1839 and was super exciting to everybody because they could actually have a picture.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Mm-hmm. All right. So I give it a 5-star.
Absolutely, for sure.
Okay, 5-star. We give 5-star. Let us know what you give it in the comments and come back and see us in the future. Make sure you subscribe so you don't miss none of the shenanigans. All right. Thank you.
Thanks.